got back late last night. Just to give you a report on anybody that's going to O'Hare, there are no problems. There were no problems for O'Hare. There were no problems at San Antonio Airport. So if any of those airports fit your fancy, I didn't have any issues. So we were talking about when we were about to leave is like how much earlier do we have to go now because of TSA. There were no issues. So I will just tell you the Monday travel and the Wednesday travel all okay actually, and didn't see any trouble. But going back, look, this has always been ever since I've come here and have been listening since I was a kid. It's always been local news, local issues, traffic always, weather always. I'm going to, jump into that a little bit just from my day job's perspective. I will put a disclaimer out. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Little Calumet River or Basin Commission, which we normally have our show on the first Tuesday of the month. But I can talk about anything. I may not be as educated as some on some issues, but for the first show, I couldn't convince anybody to come on with me at 6 o'clock in the morning. But maybe the next show that I do, we will. And, we could talk about anything from data centers, which I think is important. I think it's a big issue around here. And I really want to bring in the people that are not only for the data centers, that know more about data centers. Actually, and I want to talk about the people that are objecting to the data centers, the residents in Hobart. Are you objecting just because you don't want it in your backyard? Do you have information that could help us? To me, it's a neutral thing. But it's up to you. I want to do that. I want to talk about politics, believe it or not. I want to talk about taxes. I know that's super exciting. But there's important dates coming up that, you're going to get your tax bill here in the next, I would imagine if we're end of March, you'll see the next 2 weeks, probably after Easter, hopefully not ruin the holiday. And you're going to need to do something. You have a certain window of time to appeal those taxes, and that's going to, that can impact you. There could be errors and omissions that were done by, your various assessors' offices. And I think you need to know, how to correct those issues. And so we plan on talking about that. While I was gone, I will talk about something that impacted my job was that situation out in Lake Station where the two, I guess it's two, at least that's what they're reporting, individuals, one, they drove the truck into the river, which happened to be on our property. And I got a call, and I was getting calls while I was out of town and trying to figure out the best way to access that location and access and try to help the kid out. I mean, he's 18 years old. He's a senior at River Forest, from my understanding, and they still haven't found him. And we have cameras out at that location. I can tell you last night when I was reviewing the cameras, there were still people out there last night looking. It's got to be terrible for the family. The driver, my understanding was arrested. So, there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of situation out there that probably hasn't been told just yet as far as, the impacts of how and what happened, to that location. If you're familiar with it, 27th in Wyoming, it's a sharp left turn. So for the car to end up in the river, which is about 20, 30 feet from the end of the road, he probably was traveling at a very high rate of speed from what the cameras I saw from Lake Station, the cameras I saw from Chicago media about Lake Station was that he was on the other side of the bank. So I'm not sure, and I'm sure the investigators will all figure that out as far as how fast. But certainly, my prayers and my hopes are that they find the young man. Hopefully he's around. Maybe he survived it. It's only been 4 days. There's still hope for me. There's some wooded area over there, and so I hope, and I'm sure they have. They're doing the search and the best they can. And, the best for that, and hopefully as the days go on, we'll get better information and see. But it just seems something very peculiar. the kids, from what I understand, that young men are from that area, so that I would think they would have known that turn was that tight. But we'll find out soon enough. I will also talk about my other job is weather. So there's a lot of things going on, actually, believe it or not, if you think about it. So today is opening day. Adriana, are you a Cubs Sox fan, or do you care?
I am a Cubs fan.
You're a Cubs fan. Are you going to the game today?
No, I am not, because I saw the forecast and I'm like,
Look at
with
you.
my luck, I would get caught in that. But I know that if I don't go, then that means it's going to be nice sunshine rainbows.
I think you made the wise choice in not going.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy that you did check out the forecast, because most people don't.
No, they're like, I'm still going.
Yeah, well, I'm going. You know, even for this area, for Northwest Indiana, I mean, up there it's going to be cool. I mean, it's going to be like.
I don't go to a Cubs game until like May, because bipolar Northwest Indiana weather. I know better, and even in May, it's going to be cold.
I'm a Sox fan.
Okay.
So I'm going to acknowledge that, and I understand our team is terrible.
You guys do have better concessions, I will say.
We do, but I think the Cubs have better atmosphere around the ballpark. Mm-hmm. I had not gone to a Cubs game in probably 15 years. I went to my first one in 15 years with a couple of friends last year, and I was amazed with all the stuff that was around it. What do they call it? That little park area?
Wrigleyville.
No, not. What's the area that where they have like people were tossing bean bags and the whole 9 yards? That all used to be just concrete. I think it used to be a building. So when I went there, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So you got to go there, but it's still an old ballpark. Mm-hmm. Bathrooms are what they are. Concessions are what they are. The chairs are what they are. But you don't get that often. So I was looking at it going, man, that is going to be. I got to think that the wind's going to be blowing in, and it's going to be blowing in. I mean, hard. They're saying it's going to go from 60. Well, they're not saying it's going to happen. It's going to be like 60, 70 degrees, and it's going to go down to 30. So you could be going to the game, and I'm sure people will enjoy themselves because it's opening day.
And good for them.
And good for them. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a cold front coming through, and that's going to sort of impact us as well. So we get messages from National Weather Service, and they issued one last night that said expect severe thunderstorms in our area. So that's not good. And the hail, if you remember, it was only a couple weeks ago where we had the tornadoes and such, and the gigantic hail. That's going to happen again today. So really not looking forward to it. Unfortunately for me, I get to, after this show, drive down to Indianapolis for a meeting, and then I get to turn around and
come right back.
And come right back. So I-65 will be well traveled. So if anyone out there that is traveling I-65 that can tell me, hopefully it's clear, because it's going to be a tight window. I think you said we go till 7:30, which is.
One thing we did forget to do is traffic and weather.
But yeah, so if you have traffic or weather, I mean, I didn't see anything out there. I didn't see anything out there today, but if actually 7:30 gets me in a good place, because if it's 7:30, it's 8:30 Indianapolis time.
You're making good time.
Yeah, I got 3.5 hours to make it in Indianapolis to have my 1 hour meeting, and I tried to convince them to have a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, and it just didn't go over so well. So. Good for me, good for them, and I guess good for I-65 and the.
You'll be happy to know I-65 is looking pretty clear.
Oh, is it?
It is looking pretty clear at the moments in time.
I was waiting for Dave. Dave drives the truck around, right? Dave from Gary, he would tell me right away where any traffic issues are. So, all right, you're a Cubs fan. Are they going to go to the playoffs this year or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably mainly because they were doing so well, and then it just kind of tanked during the end of the season. So, it's like rooting for the Bears, any Chicago team. It's just like, oh, you're doing so good, you're doing so good. What happened? What happened?
We'll get used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sox are just terrible, and I know they're going to be terrible, and they're not spending any money to be any better. And I know spending money doesn't necessarily translate into more wins necessarily, but I will tell you, I was a sick fan was it 2 years ago when they were going to break the all-time loss record of, I think, 121. I went to of course, I went to the games. I was thinking, well, they're going to break the record. I think it'd be pretty cool. I could be at the most losses of any major league team. And of course, the 3 games I went in a row, or the 2 or 3, they won all of them. So I'm like, I gave up. But the concessions, by the way, are much better, and that's fine.
I was going to say, last year I went to 2 Sox games, and they won both of them. So I was like, okay.
Well, why don't you just become a Sox fan, and then we could do a lot better for ourselves?
I remember I went to the Hispanic Heritage Night because I was like, their jerseys are really cool. I want one.
Did you get one?
I did.
Okay.
I did get one because I saw what the Sox had, and then I saw what the Cubs had. The Cubs, I will say, their merchandise for that event was a little gaudy, and it was just very flashy. I liked how the Sox, it was kind of very neutral, and it just looked like a nice, cleaner, slicker look. And then I went for my friend's birthday. She's a Sox fan. She's like, I want to go to a Sox game. I'm like, all right, let's go. And they won, and I was like, oh, look at that.
Well, I mean, we got to talk to your friend. Maybe she needs to go to more games.
Is
she diehard Sox?
Yes, her family is diehard Sox fans.
She from the South Side, from here, where?
She's from here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my whole entire family are Cubs fans, except for me and my sister.
I was gonna say, what happened?
I don't know. Like, I used to go to Cubs game all the time, and before cable and everything, we used to have, all we did was watch WGN. That's the only thing that they were on. It was a piece of cake to watch. But I just find it, you know what? When I went to the Cubs game, like getting back from there after the game, I'm like, it's 2 hours, and I get it. The Cubs fans will rip me and go, well, there's nobody there at the Sox game, so it's very easy for you to get out of the Sox game. It's no traffic. But, I mean, it's really half hour. I get on Dan Ryan, Bishop Ford,
and
94, and I'm home.
Yeah.
Oh, we got, 2 callers.
Yes,
hopefully they're both traffic-related, or maybe they're Sox fans. So go with
or
whoever you want.
They're Cubs fans that are just hating on
Oh, they could. That's fine. It's opening day. Let's go with it. Good morning.
Let's see.
Who do we got here? We just got a mystery caller on line 1. Go with him. Or her.
Yeah, good morning, caller. You are on
Hello.
here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning.
You got 2 conversations going on here.
We do?
What's that?
Yeah. As I'm talking to you, I hear a different conversation in the background.
Well, answer the conversation that you want.
Can you hear me?
I can
Yes,
hear
we
you
can.
great.
Okay, I can hear you now. There was 2 conversations going. I don't know how they got on the line.
Okay.
And okay, how y'all doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay, but I think right now the situation with these TSA, I can't believe that right now these people are not being paid. Here it is, a person in office making $4 billion since he's been there. We can't afford to pay these people. That's a shame. And I know people, he's beating up the president. Well, I'm just simply saying that right now, these people need to be paid. It's ridiculous that you have to stay 4 or 5 hours at an airport because basically people are not coming to work because they're not being paid. And now that's a serious thing. We get into fighting against each other, but there are people who use the White House to make all $4 billion. Could you imagine what that would do for us in America? And right now, we're spending $2 billion a day just on this situation in Iran. Now, if we could spend that kind of money in Iran, I think we could take care of this situation, paying these people who fly in here, and it's terrible. And then when someone attacked the president, I shouldn't say attack the president, when somebody come out and try to straighten the president out and speak out against him, he don't like the president. That's utterly ridiculous. They're in Washington to hopefully make life easier. I stopped. You remember I told you the other day that I stopped by this thing, this motorhome and RVs on, and I think it's in Dyer. And I asked the guy, I said, how are your sales going? He said, you got to be kidding. Sales? He said, nobody's going to buy one because they can't afford to pay the gas. I said, well, maybe we need to send Washington a message. And he said, what kind of message is send him? I said, well, we have a president talking he was against war, but right now he's fighting with the whole world.
Well,
and he said, yeah.
I'm going to no. I mean, I think your point. I mean, I don't know who's making $4 billion. I know there's reports of all things, but I'll just
Donald Trump. Hold on. Donald Trump has made $4 billion in his own business since he's been in. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm not saying he did anything illegal, but $4 billion. Yes. If somebody hopefully could correct me, but $4 billion, and his son Jared, son-in-law Jared, is making money in another country. But again, you know, people don't see a problem with that. People say, well, the president could defend himself. You know, we don't need us attacking each other on these airways when these people making all kinds of money and we ain't got a pot to piss in. You know, give me a break. And then the other day, I guess Trucker Mike talked about the situation that he was saying that this president calling this Mueller guy. He basically told him basically he was a nobody, and I'm glad he's dead. And people can't find a problem. They attack Mike. Mike had a reason to say that. He's the president of the United States.
All right.
I mean, get us.
What?
We need to get around that, and we need to stop attacking each other. I'm not going to attack anybody on this radio because they have an opinion. I could say I don't agree with it, but right now we fighting each other, and every one of those people who are in Congress and everything are multimillionaires, and they don't have the same problem that you and I might have. I'm living comfortable, but I could be living better than I am traveling across the world. But I can't travel across the world. You know why? Because I'm afraid I might not get back because of some stuff that Donald Trump is responsible, and he is basically going beyond his duties, and he's unhinged. Okay. He's unhinged.
Well, thank you. Well, there's a couple issues to cover. I appreciate your phone call. Please, please listen or please call back at a later time. I mean, look, you bring up he brings up a good point about the TSA agents and the shutdown and the folks that I was with traveling. We talked about it. Like there should be no ability for the government to shut down, and then basically because TSA's national security, you don't want that to slip. We've got two callers. I don't have access to the president's tax return, so I can't verify he made $2 billion. But it is what it is. I think it boils down to Washington needs to figure this thing out. TSA is your front line to people getting on the airplanes. We all see what happens in 9/11 when you don't secure that situation. You have what was a national disaster. So we have more callers. Just keep them firing. Evidently, everyone woke up just now. Thank you. Good morning. Next caller.
Yeah. When I flipped on the radio this morning, the radio came through fine, your voice, but when it came time to the telephone, there was a voice in the background. I think it was Tom Dabberton's voice. In the background.
I don't know.
But it got fixed.
Nothing against Tom, but I don't know if I'd want to wake up to Tom talking to me that early in the morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, Steve. Well, fine. This horrible incident in Lake Station where they drove the car into the water, kind of thing. So typical. The guy who was speeding lives, and the passenger is probably gone. I mean, at this stage of the game, 4 days have elapsed. It's not likely he has survived. But speed is a killer. And I've always been a safe driver, and in my old age, I'm even safer.
Yeah.
When it comes to an intersection, I look both ways before I go into that intersection, because I've seen so often the speeders blasting through the intersection, whether it be a light or a sign. The speeders don't care. I mean, they just are nuts. And even in the winter when the surface is compromised, it doesn't seem to make any difference to them. Excuse me.
That's okay.
But one thing I've noticed since Illinois and Michigan legalized pot, I think these kinds of things have gotten worse, particularly ignoring street signs and blasting through intersections, ignoring red lights or stop signs and that kind of stuff. Since the legalization of the pot, this kind of stuff has gotten worse. But it's deadly. I mean, people die, and I've driven for 60 years. I've been involved with 6 accidents, all of them people hitting me in the rear.
That's not good. I'll tell you what.
Everyone.
Getting hit is, it's even the smallest crash. I got an accident on Ridge Road, actually, right by Calumet, New Tech, by what was it, Ridge and Colfax, and I got hit from behind. And I will tell you, it gave me a concussion. You looked at my car, you wouldn't think it, but it's troubling. It hurt, and it was quite impactful to my life. Having a concussion is no fun. But to the back to the accident, if it was someone that wasn't familiar with the area, that was someone from, let's just pick a city or town, Maryville, Cherville, that wasn't familiar with that neighborhood, I would say, okay, I could see it happening, but doing, basically launching your car into the river, like, you're from that area, it's if you haven't been there, it's a direct left turn. There's a street light there.
Yes.
There's a house there. Yes. It's a left turn. Otherwise, you're going to end up where they ended up. So it's just confusing to me as to how that happened. I'm sure people will figure it out, but it's not. And by the way, going back to smoking marijuana, I read something while I was away that Indiana is now considering it's a possibility that they may legalize marijuana to some degree, because simply everyone around them, I think Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, all has some form of legislation that will allow for marijuana, whether it's for recreation, whether it's medicinal. So, I mean, the reason why they're doing it, I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why, but I mean, from a money standpoint, I think the state is looking at it going, we're missing out and everyone else is going through the other states. So is that, go ahead.
That kind of thinking, the advocates always say, well, we're missing out on the taxes and so forth. But when you throw in the costs to increase accidents, et cetera, the benefits aren't there. And besides the fact that the sellers of illegal sellers of drugs, they just undersell the state. I mean, the state license places. That's been the record. I mean, the big advocates of legalizing pot, especially the libertarians, one of their big lies was it'll drive the legal market out of existence. I remember thinking to myself, are you people crazy? If it's legalized by the state and with licenses and so forth, and they're looking for money, they're going to drive up. The politicians are going to inflict taxes and all kinds of goodies, and that will create a market that will continue the market for the legal side of the house. I mean,
there's always a market.
None of this is hard to understand, but
yeah, there's always a market for something, and I don't necessarily contribute. And thanks for the phone call. I know we got, I think, 2 more waiting, but just the fact of legalization of marijuana, I don't think is a direct correlation to bad driving. Driving the expressway as much as I do, there are bad drivers, and I don't think they're all doing marijuana or any other drugs. It's just stupidity. I mean, I've seen some people passing on the exit or the emergency side. We saw an accident a couple weeks ago where there was a truck that was disabled on the side, and someone tried to pass through the emergency lane. Everyone just needs to settle down. But unfortunately, we've got so much distraction. We got to eat something, right, when we're driving. We've got to text and drive, even though that's not legal to do. We're putting on makeup, we're tying our tie. Like, I have done work on the expressway and spoken with the INDOT workers while we're up there, and I just, when you see how fast they're going and people are just not even paying attention, you just have to be careful. And certainly with 250, I mean, I'm just looking at 94 right now. You have 220, I think, 230,000 vehicles a day driving through there, and you just, not everyone's paying attention. That's why my wife looks at me and she was like, "Why are you looking in the rearview mirror?" I said, "Because you always have to sort of be defensive to an extent, where you're looking at who's coming up from behind and how fast, and not all the times you could do that." And I will tell you, the folks that are, to me, a little bit on the edge there are the motorcycle drivers. I could not do that. I mean, then they just split, through traffic, and they're weaving, and I'm going,
Not on the highway.
I mean, it's just, it only takes one person not to see you, and you're just weaving between. And I'm like, I feel bad because eventually, it does happen. You see it, it happens, and you wouldn't want to be the driver that necessarily causes that accident. But yeah, they're going to do what they're doing. We're going to go for a break right now. It's 6:30. On the return, I think you can hold on, and if we have callers, and we'll talk more about baseball and all the other good stuff going on today, Thursday. We'll see you on the break.
Military or living overseas, Indiana wants every eligible Hoosier to participate in our elections. Military and overseas voters can register and vote securely from anywhere in the world. Voting assistance for service members, families, and eligible Hoosiers is available now. Visit IndianaWantsYou.com or contact your county election office. And remember, Indiana wants you.
Message sponsored by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Indiana wants me.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Summer's coming, and Deep River Water Park is taking applications for all positions. We have jobs both inside and out for all ages that offer great benefits. Free admission on your day off for you and a friend. Free uniforms, paid training, make new friends, flexible scheduling, and more. To apply, just go to deepriverwaterpark.com and you're on your way to a summer of rewarding fun.
Deep River Water Park. It's simply splash-tastic.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
Welcome back, everyone. It's 6:34 here in the region. I am Dan Repay, and I am taking over some Thursdays along the way till sometime in June, until they get sick and tired of me. And if you missed the earlier show, I mean, my focus is going to try to be local, things that matter, things that impact you, and we'll have guests on sort of to help facilitate that information that are going to be much more knowledgeable on me. We talked about data centers. We talked about the unfortunate accident out in Lake Station. We talked about Cubs Sox, and then all of a sudden we switched to TSA, and I had mentioned that TSA was fine. So if you're going to O'Hare today, I don't think TSA will be an issue, although I do believe that issue needs to be resolved, that there are, they're national security the way I look at it. It's sort of like not paying police officers or the fire department. It's sort of something that you just don't want to do, and most people wouldn't stand for it. And I didn't, you don't want to feel comfortable not having that around. And I will tell you, the folks at TSA were wonderful. I made sure to thank them. Couldn't help them, but you're not getting a check. It's not really great, and it's not good for your cash flow. So, with that weather today, if you're going or if you're awake, hopefully, congratulations, and you made it to another day. It is warm out there now. That will soon change. So if you have some plans in the afternoon, or you're going out and you will be coming back in the afternoon, expect a considerable drop in temperature. And you can also find yourself in the middle of hail and thunderstorms later this afternoon and into the evening. So if you're going to the Cubs game, you Cubs fans, congratulations or good luck. I would pack a jacket and anything else that you think that the region would offer you as far as weather this time of year, because it is terrible. Hopefully, though, tomorrow or tonight into tomorrow's the last day that I see long term. That will be in the 30s. Everything else seems to be in the 50s and 60s long term, although that always changes. But as we get later on in the year, it's good. If you're going to the Bishop Ford, I would avoid it. It's not looking really that happy right now. So if you have an alternate route.
Yeah, going eastbound.
Oh, just eastbound. All right. So eastbound, you're in bad shape. Westbound, you can keep going to the city. So I guess everyone that's coming to Indiana for the lower taxes and everything else and not buying marijuana because it's not available here. But it's a good segue, though, into the new South Shore. And I know I'll rile some people up here because the South Shore opens, the Westlake Corridor opens Tuesday. So starting Tuesday, I think there's the ribbon cutting. Wednesday may be the first, and I may be off by one day. But the long-awaited, by some, South Shore Corridor that runs from Hammond from the Gateway Station all the way down through Hammond, South Side by Forest Avenue, by 173rd, ultimately ends up at Ridge Road in Munster, and then completes itself down at Maine and the railroad tracks, which is on the border of Munster and Dyer. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on that. I mean, I guess I didn't even give my brief background. I did take the South Shore for a few years while I was working in downtown Chicago. I am still not 100% convinced on the South Shore. I think what you'll find is the people that were from South County that would drive up to the Hammond station or the East Chicago station, they will now sort of migrate over to the Hammond, the other Hammond station and the Munster station. And I don't know if they call it the Dyer station or what. Well, I'll just call it the end of the line station. It's just less of a travel for them. So I think you'll see less parking needs in the East Chicago. I mean, the East Chicago station is huge. I mean, it goes all the way from the boulevard probably for a half mile to the east. And so I'm not 100% sold yet on it, but I do believe there are some opportunities along the rail line, because if you look at it from an Illinois perspective, I can live in Indiana with Indiana taxes, with Indiana benefits. If you live in Hammond, you can get tuition for your children for the college-bound program. You live in Munster. Anywhere you live nearby, I think there's a possibility. And you have to remember that folks that take the train when they take it to Millennium Station or they take it to Van Buren, they're still, like, for me, I was still walking 7 blocks from the station. So people don't have to live right next to the station for it to be successful. If they're a couple, 3 blocks, and that's why I could see in the Munster station, you could live anywhere from state line to the station and still be a benefactor. You're just walking the same couple blocks. And yes, does it stink when it's raining? Yes. Does it stink when it's snowing? Yes. But most people that work in Chicago that commute from Indiana are well versed and well prepared to be that, and they know how to dress in layers. And so they get to the station, they get onto the train, and they're there. So that's something to look forward to. I see it from my office. My office is in Munster, so we've been seeing the trains run down the line from past. I could see 3 Floyds, and I could see almost to Ridge, and so that's going to be an interesting thing. It's going to be an interesting dynamic, and hopefully, there's going to be some bugs that need to be worked out. I'm sure some gates are going to come down inadvertently, but the important thing is this is the new reality. And so not only that, you're going to have the other, we're going the other way, where improvements with East Chicago, the improvements to the metro station in Gary. Will you see benefits there? I mean, the metro station hasn't been updated in a very long time. And that then could also be a driver for some economic development in the downtown Gary area, just around 5th and Broadway-ish, if you're familiar, right by the Genesis Center, right by the county complex, right by City Hall. So I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction. I think it will take some time. Unfortunately, in federal projects, it takes so long that, when this probably was originally planned, we didn't have COVID, which COVID drastically changed people's work styles and environments on how to do it. I mean, I know people that used to go to Chicago 5 days a week, got on the train, they get on the 5 whatever or the 6 o'clock train, and they're up in Chicago by 7 or 8. And now it's, you can work 2 days from home or 3 days from home, and you have to be in the office 2 days. And so ridership and the amount of people that need to go down there, you don't necessarily have to buy the monthly pass. Heck, that was a long time ago when you actually had a physical pass that you had to purchase, but I'm sure it's upgraded since then. But I'm looking forward to seeing what is happening there. It's going to be interesting to me just from the fact that I don't do it anymore, but I know several people that still do it, and seeing if they change what station they go to, because for so long they would drive up to Calumet Avenue, go off onto Chicago Avenue, and make their home at that station. So that's something interesting. Something else that, speaking of that same area is, where I'm situated, which is by the Pepsi plant, the amount of ambulances that come from Illinois into, I won't even get into that, guy. I just got notice that we got 3 callers. So everyone just woke up, or I fired some people up about the South Shore. So whoever you want to put on, it's Adriana, it's your show.
It's my show.
You're getting paid for this.
Well, I don't know who's on the line.
Well, that's all right. It's
I don't
a mystery.
recognize phone
This is
numbers.
Rick.
Who is it?
Hello.
Good morning.
This is Rick.
Rick.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, you got. I'm still breathing.
Good.
Yeah.
You made it.
You talked. I was seeing in the paper the other day that yesterday that Mayor Hammond was having a big sit down with the mayor of Michigan City.
Mm-hmm.
I live out in this area. I live out in LaPorte County here.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of the main street, but Michigan City is half the size population-wise as Hammond, and they got twice as many stores. I can't remember that main street, but they have they got a Super Walmart, they have a Menards, they have a Meijer, they have the problem that Hammond has, okay, like where the come out of Highland, you go into Hammond. Okay, the properties there are somewhat deep. That's what you got to have. And once you get under 8094 and you're going north, you don't have deep properties. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about
Deep
setbacks
properties.
for the commercial properties?
Well, yeah, like where the Kmart used to be, and it goes way back, and there used to be a theater back there, That's what Hammond needs. And that's what they have out here in Michigan City. I mean, man, they got twice as many stores as Hammond. They got twice as many bars. I mean, you can go down that street and you can go to liquor stores, you can go to bars, you can go to restaurants, you can go to tuxedo places, you can go to bridal shops, you can go get a haircut. I mean, just on one street.
All right, so
you were talking about.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. All right, so besides Michigan City, out in your part, LaPorte, Porter County. I mean, but I'm just saying in general, you have Chesterton, Valparaiso, Michigan City, right? And you have LaPorte. So you have those 4.
Right.
The only, and my personal opinion, the disadvantage is when you're in Hammond, everyone is so close together. So if you go to Hammond, you could go to Munster to eat, you go to Highland to eat, you can go to Griffith. Everyone is so on top of each other. As far as communities are, and that's why there's all that different offerings. I mean, you have Costco. I joke, well, you don't have a Costco. Maryville has a Costco. And that's cool, but I just think Michigan City, and congratulations, Michigan City. I haven't been there in about a year, but I've heard they've done a wonderful job with the lakefront and that development down there, and I'm happy for them. I just think that it's designed a little bit different with just how close together everyone is. That's just how it was designed. I mean, You go to Markstown in East Chicago, you go to Calumet or the Harbor in East Chicago. All those houses were designed for that purpose. They're just all lumped together. Development was all lumped together. And I agree with you. I think the mayor would tell you he would love to have deeper properties where there was the old Builder's Square back there. I mean, I think Griffith is looking to rejuvenate the old Service Merchandise Plaza at one point. So there's possibilities and there's opportunities, but I wouldn't want to compare Michigan City necessarily with Hammond or any other community, because the communities in Lake County, at least on the far, let's just say north of 30, are very tightly put together, and sometimes that's a detriment. Sometimes that's a good thing. But when I had friends come up from college, they just said, "Well, wait a minute, how did you switch from one community to another?" And it's just a matter of some invisible line or street. So, I'm happy for Michigan City.
You were talking about this marijuana out there in Michigan and Indiana getting that. I live like 15, 20 minutes from the Michigan border, okay? Yep. And they got like 30, at least 30 smoke shops, marijuana smoke shops by the casino there. And the people in that area, they are livid. They are so mad. They can't find places to park on the streets because of the people. And you would think, because Indiana's right next to Michigan, but I was talking to a couple of guys that live out here where I live, and they smoke. And they were like, can't go on the weekends. It's just too crowded, standing in lines. Even there's so many of them that there's people are standing in lines.
Yeah,
You're constantly getting mail in mailboxes. But more people from Illinois go to Michigan than Indiana.
Yeah.
Because the taxes, they tax you tripled compared to what they do in Michigan.
Well, thank you for the phone call. And you know what? I need to go up there. I haven't seen it, but I've heard that there's all kinds of places just over the border. I mean, of course, we see the advertisement, but I would like to see it in person and just see what it really looks like. So I didn't know there was a market. We are now down to one caller. Someone got tired of me waiting. I'm sorry. Next caller, who do we have? Mystery.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Trucker Mike.
Trucker Mike, how are you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
All right. Hey, to start off, I'm going to say something. You and her need to get $65 out of your pocket, and you guys could save and do one thing together right in one row. May 15th, Wicker Park is having the Crosstown Classic of the Sox and the Cubs playing a game, and you take a bus. So she could give $65, you $65, and you both, no, it's $130 each person. Oh, my God, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. But put it this way, you both could sit on the bus, go together, go to the White Sox. Uh-oh. Okay, that's off. It's daylight. My alarm just went out. Daylight. It's daylight savings time now. The sun just come up. But you both could take the bus, go enjoy the game. She could watch her Cubs. You could watch your Sox. And, now many years ago, I don't know, it was 3, 4, 5, 4 years ago, me and my sister went to that crosstown at the Sox Park, and I haven't been to a big ballpark place in a long time. And I had to drive up there because my sister, when it gets dark, she can't really drive that good. And I know Chicago. I drove a truck. I know how to get in and out of the city. And went up there, and I was walking around and looking at the park because I'd never been in that park. Now, when they rebuilt that park, I took steel and went right down into the middle of that field and brought steel when they were rebuilding that park. But I'm walking around looking at the park, and like a year or so ago, they were talking they were going to build a new stadium. And I was sitting there with my sister going there. I said, why would they want to build a new ballpark? I mean, this thing's nice. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I walked around the concession stand, and my sister, she didn't want to get out of her seat, and she had me go get her a big tub of popcorn and all this stuff, and then it's kind of expensive to eat there, but I went there one time, and I tell you, you and Adrian, you need to both get a ticket to that bus from Wicker Park, and and you guys go enjoy the game. She can enjoy the Cubs. You enjoy the Sox.
All right.
You know?
Well, maybe that's a possibility. Who's is this North Township's bus? Is this what is this their program they're putting on together?
Yeah, Wicker Park Memorial Park.
All right.
You know, I
We
don't
might
know
be
how you
hearing about it
contact
coming up. North Township
All
is
right.
today.
So yeah, the North Township trustee shows later on today.
And put it this way. Yeah, and then put it this way. You guys can both go, and then, you know, probably Adrian, I know probably Adrian Santos is going to go to that game, and you all three could sit together and maybe do a live show there.
Sure, from the bleachers like they used to do with Harry Carey. We'll just sit out. There's really not many bleachers. I think they probably would. I'd imagine if they have a group that large, they're going to be out in the outfield. So maybe that's a good idea.
You know, another thing. Yeah, another thing I want to talk about is, you know, you talk about that kid that rolled that truck over, and then the other kids missed it. You know, a few years ago, or I don't know how many years ago, you remember them hotels right along Klein Avenue in 94 by the river?
Yep.
Where that family was heading back up to Wisconsin. That kid walked out of the hotel room. And, you know, I heard that situation go on, and I kept telling my wife, I says, you know what? They're going to find that child in that river, and they're only going to find him like about a mile or 2 miles away from where it was, you know. It was a shame, you know, that happened, you know.
That was a terrible situation that happened, and we actually I didn't think my day job would play as much role as in today's I guess my show here today, but we actually stopped the river from going to the east in that direction. We stopped at the boulevard so we could lower the water level so that the search and rescue folks could get to it, and that was a bad situation, and having spoken with the police in that area, they pretty much knew where about he was, and I will tell you, I will tell you this: we just passed, or we just approved a boat launch, because one of the big issues with that whole situation was the fact that we couldn't launch a boat in that area to find and rescue the kids. So we have now created that.
If I'm not mistaken, I remember on the news when that child was found that somebody in one of them like canoes or something was going by and saw him.
That's correct.
Something like that.
That is correct.
You know, but you know, your last caller was talking about Michigan City.
Mm-hmm.
It's the main road going down into the lake is called Franklin Street. And you know what? That's the thing about this area is like, okay, I used to love going up and down 41 when I go down because I go down to the racetrack down in Morocco. And I used to love just leave here, take 41 and go down. And as soon as you get past Ridge Road and till Route 30, there is so many lights. So what I do now is, and I can see it's going to happen to Calumet Avenue, is when I have to go somewhere south and I want to run down 41 or something, I'll take Calumet to 30 over, and then south. But I can see now that, luckily, Doc Smokehouse put his building there, so he got himself situated. He won't have to worry about finding a place to put his business. It's stuck there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to grow. But Calumet Avenue is going to be another one of those 41s where there's going to be nothing but stop and go lights, you know. And that thing, like he was saying, if you go south of 94 on like 41 and Calumet, or any of the kind of roads, or like Cleveland going into Crown Point, you'll see so many stores on left and right. You got so much to choose from. Now, my sister lives in my wife's sister lives in Hammond, north of downtown Hammond, and on the weekends I got to sometimes pick her up and bring her back to our house, and I'll run downtown the Holman Avenue to go get her, and I keep looking there, and they did all that improvement and made it look so nice. It looks nice, but I keep telling her sister, my wife, I says, there's nothing down there to shop. There's nothing to walk around, go shopping. You know, I mean,
well,
but the thing is I'm gonna let you guys go. So I think you probably got another caller. But the thing is, hey, you guys you guys talk to Adrian Santos, and maybe you, her, and Adrian can sit next to each other at that crosstown game with the Sox and the Cubs.
Well, I'll see if he can pull that off, and thank you for the phone call. And I will add to another intersection to your list besides Calumet, the Boulevard, and everything else. Kennedy Avenue is going to go through eventually to US 30, so that's going to be another road. So it's hard to compare our region to Michigan City, but we'll do our best. And now I have my chaperone, my boss, and the person that checked on me. He woke up early just because he probably didn't think I was going to get here at 6 o'clock, and I did.
Hey, thank you,
Mr.
as
Debo.
always. I don't have a headset, so I trust on Adriana on her level of audio. You need to take a break, but I want to talk about something I just saw this morning, and I want to preview some of the sports this weekend, if you don't mind, and then I'll get out of your way.
I would like to know what you saw. What did you see this morning?
It's called a tease, so they'll hang out through the commercials. Adriana does it all the time.
Well, but the commercial's not for 4 minutes, so that's a hell of a tease.
Well, I think she's going to take it now, and then we'll tease, and then I'll
Who's
come
calling
back.
the game with at Crown Point? The Crown Point game, is that Tim
So
and
we
Sam?
we have a contract. Like you know what? I
would like
said
to
I was
know.
going to talk to you in this little next segment.
But you're teasing me what you saw, but you can't tease me who's calling the game.
So we did the TV version of the semi-states. So the IHSA hires us, and we have to stream through IHSAA Champions Network.
Okay.
And there's 4 TV stations around the state that do that. There's one up here, one in every corner of the state. So usually it's a TV station, but we're it up here. I think I can, and I think it's like Whoa or something in Fort Wayne, and then they have WIBC the Fox in Indy, and then they have the Evansville station. So there's basically 4 that do it. So part of this whole agreement Sam came up with is we have to take their feed for the state finals. So
he can't call the game? I'm advocating for Sam.
Well, I mean, I think that's just the way he like if it's I don't know. I have a feeling that the way he cut it is that part of it is so that Sam can go to all the tournament games.
Yeah.
Like he's got tickets for the Sweet 16 and all that stuff.
Well, this is and what, for the NCAA tournament?
So every once in a while you'll turn on the radio on a Tuesday night and you'll hear like Nebraska versus Iowa, which is tonight.
Yeah.
It's just an unbelievable game on WJOB as soon as Purdue ends. And you'll hear an out-of-market game. Well, we have to play certain out-of-market games so that we can get things from the IHSA. It's a pretty close relationship.
You never know how many Cornhusker fans you may have in this listening audience.
That should, hopefully Purdue is able to get by Texas tonight.
What do you think? I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up after 7 o'clock, but I
want to talk about that. Now,
that's
listen,
our tease.
There's 2 labor things. I'll just tease on it.
Yeah.
And one of them is I just went by the NIPSCO office here in Hammond, and there must have been 60, 70 people out there with, I don't know if they were picketing already or they were starting. 167th right here by the cemetery, the highest point in Hammond. Did you know that?
It's actually, and I will tease you, not tease you, I'll tell you, that's the end of the watershed for Little Cal. So everything that's south of that, from that cemetery, goes to the Little Cal, and everything north of it goes to the Grand Calumet River. And by the way, usually cemeteries are built on sub-watershed. So when you see a cemetery, it's typically the highest part in that sub-watershed. But go ahead. You didn't know that, did you?
Well, I just...
Like Ridge Road, the funeral, the cemeteries in Ridge Road. On Ridge Road in Gary. Sub-watershed.
Oh, right on the top of the ridge.
Yep.
Yeah, now that I think Elmwood that makes a lot of sense. I ride my bike down there a lot when I ride to work.
So the St. Joe Cemetery,
yes.
Same way. Elmwood Cemetery, all the same watershed.
Did I ever tell you the time where
we should not have a radio show together, by the way.
I almost dropped Fowler. I felt so bad. It was cold.
What, were you carrying him?
Yeah, when he died, I was a pallbearer.
Oh, I thought, oh shit.
And that's
where we take a break. We'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region.
See, there you go.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, powers health.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Ennigenberg Roofing offers roof replacements, repairs, and new construction. CertainTeed Shingle Master certified, our goal is to treat every customer and project with respect, courtesy, and honesty. Serving Northwest Indiana for over 63 years, contact us for a free roof replacement estimate at 219-365-8879. Mention this ad and receive a free upgrade to CertainTeed Pro Shingles. And Ennigenberg Roofing, 219-365-8879.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and the last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Like the cool blue light. Like the cool blue light.
Good morning, everyone. You are listening to Morning Show with Dan Repay. That is our working title at the moment in time on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And you're also watching live here on YouTube. So we're going to take a quick look at traffic and weather. Are you guys going to do traffic, or am I doing traffic right now?
I'll do traffic.
You do traffic? Okay, yes.
I cuss too much, clearly.
So currently right now at the Track and Mansfield Studios, it is 58 degrees today. We are seeing highs of 75, lows of 32. As we heard earlier, we're going to have a couple of thunderstorms, and that also can produce some hail, and we're going to have really cold weather turn in the afternoon. Tonight is going to be a low of 32, and we're going to still see those thunderstorms throughout the rest of the day. Friday, looking at highs of 38 degrees, lows of 28, breezy with clouds and sun, mostly clear and cold in the nighttime. Saturday, highs of 51, lows of 39, mostly sunny and partly cloudy. Those low temperatures kind of stay there in the weekend as we move into the 60s and 70s throughout the rest of the week. Throughout Sunday through looking Sunday through Wednesday, maybe dip a little in the 50s and then back up to the 60s. You guys got traffic?
294 around the city looks good. 80 going west has a problem between Tinley Park and Orland Park. I'm not sure what it is, but it's certainly backing
Probably
up.
an accident. I'm going to go with it. Or a stalled vehicle.
Somebody lost their keys out the window and they're in the middle of the right lane. I don't know what it is.
When I was driving to Muncie, somebody had their keys in the car door. And they were driving.
Who has keys in car doors?
I don't know how it worked, but the keys were in the car door, and it was driving.
And you were in Muncie? Why were you in Muncie?
I was visiting a friend that
Nice.
goes to Ball State.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's where I went.
That's where you went?
Oh, yeah, I went to
I thought
Muncie.
you were going somewhere warm.
Chirp, chirp.
No, yeah, chirp, chirp. But then I gotta go.
Come on.
Isn't it like this? Like they do
This,
that?
chirp,
yeah,
chirp.
chirp, chirp. She's gonna see this and she's gonna be like, yeah. I gotta go down and visit her.
Does she have her own apartment, or is she in a? There's no sororities there. No sororities are allowed there.
Yeah, no, she has. She'll be living in an apartment with friends right now. She lives in the dormitories, but
Which dorms do you remember?
Oh, I don't.
Question.
I didn't go to the dorms. We stayed at the friend's apartment throughout
There you
the
go.
time.
Fair.
But I go see her again in a few weeks. She's in a play down there. So
Go hang out the chug.
there we go.
Can I finish the traffic?
No, I'd like to talk about Ball State.
Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road is all very light. And first of all, I want to thank Adriana and I both want to thank you for hosting in the morning. There's a lot of things that both she and I are working on.
Yeah.
And we're able to do that.
Clearly, my language is one of them.
Bibberty. Next thing you're going to be going Bibberty.
That's all right.
Hey, by the way.
It's authentic.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the tournament tonight. We should have one of the best 2 days of basketball on radio here on WJOB, starting off with Purdue and Texas. That goes off at 6:10. Also, Nebraska and Iowa play tonight, and Illinois is the late game. So it should just, if you happen to get in your car or whatever, and you're driving around, definitely go listen. Purdue's by 6.5, fade or take?
CJ Cox may not play. Think you fade it.
I hope you're wrong, but
I understand. I'm just, I like Purdue. I wrote a lot of checks to Purdue. I'm just, look, I like Cox. I think Cox is the real thing, and I don't know if, Lawyer's hot and cold, and I'm not a personal huge fan, and I understand that Painter doesn't like people when they criticize him, but his defense is terrible. He can't rebound, and he can't hold on to any athletic guard, but he can shoot. There's no doubt about that. I give him the shoot. But Cox is sort of the plug and play. He can do everything. He can defend. He can hit the open three. And him with that leg injury late or early in the second half, I think. Was it late in the first half? Anyway,
I think it was early second half. Yeah.
So with him, although the MRI was clear, I fear that, and I don't know because Meyer is okay.
Their best sixth man is on the other team.
Yeah.
Camden Heide transferred out of Purdue, and he's playing for Texas. And Tom Wislinski, as you well know, and he and I go back and forth during the games.
Yeah.
And I told him, the biggest loss that was going to be and was going to show up was that Miles Colvin. They could plug somebody in for, but Camden Heide was that guy they needed late, and I hope he does not come back and beat Purdue late.
You don't think you don't think he'll be jacked up for this?
He hit the three to win the
right.
last game.
It was only points of the game.
Yes.
So he was a heck of an athlete. I enjoyed watching him. But anyways, I thought it was 7.5, but if it's 6.5, it doesn't matter. I don't like it. Even though 82% of the public right now is betting Purdue to cover. So that tells you go the other way.
They win by 3, I'll be all right.
All right.
Hey, a couple other things. What a great weekend. I want to give kudos to Sam Michael and to Ben Coward and Fedler, and I think a group of 6 people went to Elkhart, and they streamed the Crown Point. They really kind of killed everybody all the way through the semi-state. It was supposed to be a tight semi-state championship. Now you have one of the best you have some really good basketball this weekend, certainly Purdue. What happened is there's not really that many Cinderellas left in the NCAA tournament, so you have good games on every game. You know what I mean?
Texas is the Cinderella. It's the highest seed, isn't it?
It's the highest seed, but that's just because they lost games late. They have a real team, and they're showing that. So there's no Cinderellas left, so it's all good teams versus good teams. There really shouldn't be any blowouts. And the same thing goes for Crown Point as they're playing against Mount Vernon and Luke Ertl, and probably Mr. Basketball.
Sure.
And Dikembe Shaw's going to have the game of his life to win that game, but you will be able to watch it on the IHSA Champions Network. We can't stream that. That is bought by Fox Sports, and but you're going to want to pay I don't know if it's $14.99 or if it's gone up to $19.99. It will be worth to watch that game. But you could always listen here on the radio. Don Fisher did his last interview this week.
Oh.
And during the football thing, we got millions of views of Don Fisher's interviews with Sam Michael. Sam and Don have developed a real repertoire together. That's the wrong
rapport.
word. Rapport. There
that's
you
okay.
Go. Yeah, that's all right. Another
it's close.
one. I want to make an announcement that Kevin Pastrick will be hosting the election night. And he will have somebody down at county giving him numbers. I know that you have agreed to come in if he needs it, and I think he does.
For the salary, the same salary?
Same salary.
Okay.
Should we give him a raise, Adriana?
Sure.
And by the way, thank you not just for doing this, but for announcing all those games for free throughout the year, too. So,
speaking of exhilarating games, the 18-13 games, I could tell you I got more I got more calls from even friends downstate. They go, because they were watching on the state feed, they're like 18-13. They're like, how did that happen? I go, yeah, it was something.
I watched you do that game.
It was a defensive struggle, which is why I told you, can you do a radio program? I go, look, if we can call an 18-13 game, then we could do anything.
That was Hanover Central over, was it Lowell?
Lowell.
Oh.
I mean, it was good defense.
And nobody was stalling.
No, it was just good.
It was the best defense I've seen in a high school basketball game in a very long time.
Although it wasn't really much offense. Anyways.
All right, so I got a couple more here. First of all, I walked Wicker Park last night. I know Adrian Santos is going to be here. I walked out onto the course, and it's closed. You cannot play it, even though it's going to be a beautiful day.
For a little bit, it'll be a beautiful day.
And then also, did you see that between 1 and 2, it's supposed to drop 12 degrees? You know what that is? That's when you go to a Cubs game. It's 78 degrees. You wear shorts and a tank top. And then by the end of the game, it's 48
You
degrees.
were listening to us this morning. This morning, we were just talking about, like, don't go there. I'll also tell you it's going to impact the airports because the wind is going to be outrageous. So it's going to be very similar setup to when there was a tornado down at Kankakee and Lake Villages. You're going to have, if you're warm, you're probably going to get some trouble. And if it's cold, you're probably going to get the hail. So pick your poison.
Exactly. And so Patrick will be here. I'm trying to show him, Adriana, that he's like, well, I want to get this guy at 7, this woman at 7:15, 7:30. I said, you don't have to bring them down here. We can put them on Riverside, and they can just look in their phone and give us the numbers, and it's actually a lot easier. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to coordinate that with him. He was a little leery of it, but I told him it's way easier, and plus then we get to keep all the food from either Big Frank's or from the whatever. But
that's what this is all about.
That's what it's all
Preserving the food.
Exactly. Weezer's podcast drops today, right?
Should, yes.
He had Michelle Feynman on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to talk about the elections. Go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, and just type in Weezer. That's IESER.
And a new episode of Mastering Local Marketing dropped today as well. That is with Hanson. He brought his son in. And they're talking all things marketing.
By the way, I love that guy.
He has really made us change the name. He has done I mean, that's why I'm taking off the second quarter off the show. He's like,
you could tell him I have sort of a secret crush on him, but I will tell you, if I hear him on the radio, if I can get him, I will wait until it is over with.
A number of people, Adriana, have told me that, God, I was listening to that, especially business owners.
Yes.
They're like, oh, I was in my driveway, and Hanson was talking about engagement on social media for your small business. And he's like, I just sat there for the last 7 minutes and listened to him. It really is, he's a top-of-the-line digital marketer across the country, and we have him on a podcast, which goes to the next thing. Did you see Netflix now has their own podcast service?
Yeah, so guys, we got to get on YouTube, right? We got to get on our socials. That's my task for the second quarter is making sure we're on our socials. But then now, guys, we got to get on Netflix. We got to get on Netflix. We're going to be up there with all the terrible shows that they got because Netflix likes to put really weird restraints on their shows now.
So you're in the right market. Certainly, I recorded on Tuesday another instance with the Cow Guy. That's one of our more popular ones. And at 9:05 today, we'll be live recording the next Mastering Local Marketing right after I go work out. And that's where I'm headed right now.
Where do you work out?
Right here at the Y.
I can't believe when I drove by there was that many people at 5:50.
So there's kind of a dead zone.
Okay.
It gets really crowded between like 5 and 6:30.
I don't understand it.
And then
I don't
between
either.
about 7 to 8, it actually lightens up a little bit. And then a ton of retirees.
I was texting her what she wanted to drink. That's what I was doing at that time. There was no way I was sitting there thinking about, boy, I really want to do some squats.
It's packed.
I know.
And I've actually got some morning friends. Hey, how you doing, Jed? Yeah. But here's what I really wanted to talk about is that, that I had Jim Slagle in the other day, and we talked about the BP situation. BP is locked out. And they are picketing along Indianapolis
Which, by the way,
Boulevard.
was on my list of things to talk about.
Yeah, and I'm leaving, so you could talk
No,
about
no,
whatever
it's
you
fine.
want. But I just drove down 167th, as I was talking about, and I see these, 70 people all climb, together holding Fair Contract Now, whatever. and they are all the NIPSCO people.
That's the linesman.
And I open a window, and they're all waiting to take a picture, and they're like, "Hey, get out of the way!" And then I go, "Oh, hey, Jed, how are you?" And
they didn't recognize.
Oh,
you.
there was about
for God's
I recognized a half dozen NIPSCO workers in the line there, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? Well, the contract for NIPSCO ends on the 31st. What is that, Monday?
Of March? There's no 30. There's no 31. Is there 31 days in
30
March?
days
There's
in
only
Mar-
30 days in
no,
March.
31.
Is there
What's
31?
wrong with you?
All right,
Wait.
higher or lower?
Hey, Lori now has like
31.
kind of the hammer, and she came
There
all
is
the way
31
in
days.
because you said the SH word.
That's
she
fine.
Came all the way in.
I could be fired. It's okay.
Hey,
I could have slept in another hour and a half.
We're going to cut his pay. Hey, you're doing
All
a
right.
great job. Anybody, I am going to be on next Thursday, and I have Dave Pishker of 8 Andrean, and I would like to have Eric Schultz of Local 7-1. I'd like to have a BP representative, and I'd certainly like to have a NIPSCO and a NIPSCO person and a NIPSCO union person on. So
What, are you going to have a round table?
No, I'll just run them in, and they usually do them on Riverside, so they don't have to come in. As a matter of fact, it's a lot easier. And you know why? Because then I don't have to talk to them in the breaks and stuff. Oh, okay, see you, bye.
Wow, so you're just using them.
No, it's just everybody needs to tell their story. But do you realize what's happening right now? There's like this major labor strife in the region, and I don't get where that's coming from. Do you have any insight?
I'm just amazed that here's what I can't get over with just dealing with the BP situation. I asked some people that were in unions, so how does that work? How do you cross over? Because they have national labor agreements that they have
trades
to,
have to go
honor.
in.
So now you've got someone who is a union tradesman that goes in and is now crossing over the line. I mean, it's got to get a little bit hairy to begin with, not to mention who's running the refinery now.
That's
what I'd like to know. I mean, it's the largest inland refinery. I mean, I was just in Texas, and there was refineries there, but
they're all smaller than this.
Yes, this is huge. And
You,
so now,
you drive around Texas, you go, that's a refinery?
that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's like I look at this one, I'm going, okay, I get it. Sometimes there's strikes and management takes over for a little bit, and This is a refinery. Like things go wrong, it could go really bad for a lot of people.
I asked the same question.
It freaks me out. I'm going to be honest with you.
Certainly there is, I'm not really, I think it's part of maybe a larger movement right now. Why is British Petroleum picking the most heavily unioned area in the Midwest? And then why are they picking it while oil prices are at near all-time highs?
Yeah, I think
it's like it's a tinderbox of labor versus management that is heightened by external circumstances.
I could only imagine that BP management knew this was probably going to be the end result. I mean, when you go into negotiations, whatever negotiations they are, they're like, this will be settled. Like I've been in arbitration with cases, this there's a possibility that we could get to the finish line. And then if someone comes in and is like, I'm going to give you $1 and this person's asking for 1,000, you're not going to get to the 500 middle ground. It's just too far away. So I have to imagine that BP corporate was preparing for this, has prepared for this.
I think they brought in the guy who has gone after unions in other areas.
So
I just wonder. And
I'd like to know what the difference is. Is it insurance? Is it pay?
There's certainly wage issues and work rules and less jobs. I mean, I looked at it, and I've asked British Petroleum, and I'm going to have on Local 7-1 Eric Schultz, and I would like to get you're right. Why not let people tell their story? And let's see how that plays.
Well,
now, the same thing with
NIPSCO,
right?
Yeah.
Here is its external circumstances that play into the labor versus management clash. And the external circumstances is, I'm sure you saw this, the state legislature called in the 4 major utilities, and they're having an investigation on why there's so many complaints about high energy prices. And I saw in the Indy Star that more than 50% of those actually come from NIPSCO. Now, that's what I remember. Let's not quote it exactly.
But
yeah.
NIPSCO also has a larger service area than probably, whatever, the Indiana Power and Light or whatever the company is down there. Look, and NIPSCO's getting it from both ways. I mean, they're getting it from, data centers. They're getting it from this. And look, no one's going to really be excited about paying more for anything. No one wants to pay more. But the reality is when your power goes out, everyone, if they can, they'll go to Facebook and they're, my power's out. And how dare them wait to this? Like there's a give and take to that. There's infrastructure, there's expansion in Northwest Indiana that is requiring additional power, which goes into a conversation you probably were still sleeping about, which is what I'm going to bring in is data centers. Like, because there's a lot of stories about data centers and people want to talk about data. I want to bring in the opposition. I want to bring in the people that are for it. I want to talk about what the true issue is and not necessarily that of what we, what the belief is out there. Because I think there's some truth to the whole thing of power and they need to upgrade their facilities to do it. But I believe there's either federal or state rule, regulation, code that requires data centers now to be able to provide or have their own source of power to their data center solely without anybody else being impacted. So there's always, I think it's important to get the truth to the point, not just, I saw this on Twitter, because how much do you know if Twitter's true or not? I saw this on CNN or Fox or you name whatever station, by the way. I think most larger media operation it's sort of like the National Enquirer, because I just don't believe much of what is being said out there. There, I bet.
Yeah, you know what?
And by the way, those glasses look good on you.
By the way, I agree with you. That doesn't happen very often, especially
I
doing a
understand.
game. I always disagree with you and doing a game because you don't know that much about basketball.
You're right. My knees tell me otherwise, but go ahead.
Yeah. So there's so many clashes right now in the Calumet region. I mean, certainly, there's the major clash, the war and Washington. Certainly, that's not what we concentrate on talking here. But if you really look under the surface here, I mean, there's this huge labor versus management thing at British Petroleum. And I'm going to try to tell the whole story. Hopefully, it'll be settled by the time that I have it on Thursday. And then my next show is a week from today. So hopefully both NIPSCO and British Petroleum are settled by then. I think they both will.
I know gambling's illegal, but I will tell you, I don't think if they went to so far much as to strike, they know what that exposes them to. That I think the corporate would expose them to on the corporate side for BP. I mean, and then you're going to deal with, if you're dealing with NIPSCO, and if in fact they do go on strike or whatever with the linesmen, and I'm not sure everything that impacts, but just imagine a storm.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's like what happened
new development
in both of these situations. The one that worries me more is British Petroleum. I worked out there. I got my laborer's sweatshirt on right now. And you can, I was an actual laborer throwing stuff around and learning all the rules of where to stand and where not to stand and don't nudge up against this valve. And
right.
I mean, it is the most, honestly, it's the most dangerous place in America.
And no one realizes it. I mean, I think some people realize it, but I just said, well, okay, you're going on strike. This is interesting.
Well, you have similar things with NIPSCO. If there was a strike or a lockout and they brought other people in, like, remember Dog, his Brittany Semenek's dad?
No.
Dog was our NIPSCO guy. He lived here, I think, in Hessville. Remember Brittany wrote that in Adriana when she left. She wrote in permanent marker on the big board, "I love you guys. I'll see you later." She didn't know it was permanent marker, and now she is on the red carpet shows. That's what her job is.
Oh, really?
And every once in a while, you'll see her holding the microphone, or sometimes she's setting somebody up or whatever. But her dad, I wouldn't even call NIPSCO. I would call Dog. "Hey, Dog, get over here, man. We don't have power. Do us first, will you?" And he would come over and put us on the, put us back on the air. And that's the kind of relationships that build. And then all of a sudden you get a big storm and you have a bunch of people that drove up from Texas trying to figure out where the grid is, because there's a lockout or a strike. And the same thing goes with British Petroleum. There's a problem those dudes that have been
crack house.
The cat cracker.
The cat cracker.
Yeah, and those guys have been turning the valves for 30 years, and then they just go turn that valve, we'll be fine.
I remember Tom Kyleman, rest in peace. We were playing at Lost Marsh. I go, where do I aim? And he goes, right at the cat cracker. I go, the what? And that's what he would talk. I go, okay, that's what I'll do from now on. That's where I'm going to aim at.
I one time I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to do an industrial tourism? They used to have these little vans that would go around, and people love to look at that. Like, you could go into U.S. Steel, you could go into
Well, we used to do what was
but
it?
you can't do that anymore, because then all of a sudden you're going to have terrorists on the bus, and they're going to take all these notes.
I did it 20 years ago. I was a part of a group, but I wish I remember what it was. But we went Steel, BP, or with Amoco at the time. So we got to see all that. The State Line Generating Facility, which is now a data center. I mean, that was all interesting stuff. And I think people don't realize not only what we have here and what we produce here, but also what comes through this area on 94. Like, all the stuff that comes through, there's like, it ain't all great. It all isn't the Amazon truck. It's some stuff.
Remember when Stauffer Chemical was trying
Yes.
to get to re-engage their furnaces to burn hazardous materials.
Yeah, and that didn't go well.
And then all of a sudden they were like, well, what are you going to burn? And then they started, like benzene and PCBs and stuff like that. And they're like, you're not burning that next to Frogsville and Roxanna.
Yeah, right by the South Shore
all
Station.
That stuff still has to go somewhere in America. So there's one more thing that's a clash.
Yeah, we only got a couple more minutes
The
before
biggest
I get kicked
clash.
off.
I don't know what to think of the Bears situation.
What do you mean?
Well,
I want to bring on the mayor after this is all said and done, because they're going to make a decision, I think, by June 1st. Don't have any information. I think it's got to be decided by June 1st. And I want to bring him up because I know he knows things that he can't tell us now.
But he will intimate them. He'll hint at them.
But I want him just to tell it. Like, he's just good at telling you.
So, hey, do you see what he's doing, Adriana? He's already thinking about his next show.
I am. I have to.
You're in, man. We love that.
Look, I'm not trying to sell myself. I'm free. You're not paying me, so I don't need to stay. I could just refuse to get up one morning and be done. You can't fire me.
She'll fire you.
I would feel bad for Adriana, even though, who was calling you Adrian this morning? Trucker Mike. Trucker Mike is Adriana. That's okay.
He was calling you Adrian? Isn't that Santos' name?
It's okay.
Well, no, the amount of it's either Adrian, Ariana, something other than what my actual name is, or they spell it wrong. And I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. You're close enough. We know who you're talking
For the next show, I would like your friend from Muncie to call in. I want to talk to her.
Okay.
Chirp, chirp. Hey, back to the Bears.
ADD for me.
I mean, obviously, Mayor McDermott and I go back and forth some. That's an understatement if there ever was. But I think that he has done a good job of what you're talking about. Is you kind of got to keep your mouth shut in a negotiation like this. You know all sorts of things.
Yep.
There's all sorts of stuff going on in the background. Typically, he would just kind of go off and just say everything.
Yep.
And he has either been coached by Kevin Smith or has kind of sat down and said, I really want the Bears. I am going to do the things that are necessary to get them. And I think he's doing a good job with this.
I mean, he's been mayor for 22, 23 years. And I will tell people, some of my friends are poo-pooing it like, oh, they are just using Indiana. Okay, so they are. Who cares? Here's my point. Two things. One, it's good marketing for Northwest Indiana for this to even be considered as a part of the Bears.
I agree.
Even if if they think it's a joke or not, I don't think it's a joke. I think it's legit, serious. They are thinking about it. Two, I think in a bigger scale, and you can appreciate this, our relationship, meaning the region's relationship with the State House, with Indianapolis, and Speaker Houston coming up here and saying, look, I'm serious, and meeting with the people and the leaders from Northwest Indiana. That's sort of, look, you get it. I mean, you go down to Indianapolis and everyone thinks Northwest Indiana is a bunch of rogue knuckleheads, right? Where I think where you have this relationship is like, all right, look, we're working together on this. We're gonna get this. And if we're not successful, at least the speaker, the governor can go, you know what, Northwest Indiana can do this. They are getting behind it. They may not be as bad as we think they are. Indianapolis looks at the Northwest Indiana.
In a heartbeat. I mean, we're down there.
I got to go down there. I'm leaving this show to go down there right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're down there now because we're part of Sports Tech HQ.
Yeah.
They got it. That's the best sports organization in America, and it's right there in Indianapolis.
But a little hesitant to deal with you, I bet.
Oh, I mean, do you know how difficult it was to get them? They're like, well, I don't know. I mean, you guys, we tried this before, and I'm like, listen,
and we got
the right idea. We got the right people buying in, and you're right. We've gone go to some of their higher level meetings down there concerning sports, and it's always explaining to people that we are open for business,
yes,
and that we can get things done, because it's not just Indianapolis that looks at us that way. We are forgotten between Indianapolis and Chicago a lot of times. Getting the Bears to look at us and make it an international story, I think, will lead to other things.
I think it offers exposure, and it can't hurt. What did you expend as far as energy? You got some together. You got some meetings. I got Talon on what's his name's show on Channel 5. Great. That's all good. It's all. I mean, I don't think it's anything bad. And you know what? If they don't choose Northwest Indiana, I'm not upset.
You know, one of the things that I did get out of this is that we've been going down there, and the offices for HQ, Sports Tech HQ, are right next to the Indiana Sports Corp.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first sports corporation in America, and I think it started in 1978. They're the ones who bring the Final Four there. I think, if anything, like when Mitch Daniels looked and said, you guys need a little Cal that's run like this.
Yep.
And then he said, and then you made it, and your little Cal commission is an example for how to run things, okay? So I think that Indy has the map for us to create a region sports corporation where that's where people go for anything sports. I know that SSCVA is trying to do a lot of that, and Jimmy Nelson over there and we work heavily with them.
Yeah.
I think that if anything, it's time to kick it up a notch and realize that sports, which of course, what is mostly what we do now, is our future here.
I mean, you've seen it now with the mayor of Hammond, also in Crown Point with the sports complex. They see and identify. People do it. I don't see that stopping. You've got the Y has done a magnificent job of updating all these facilities in the sportsplex.
Been in a sportsplex yet?
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God!
And I will tell you, I wish I had it when the only thing I had was the Lincoln Center.
Yep,
that was it. That was where you could play indoors.
I'm gonna go. I won't do it today, but when it's bad, I'll go walk for like 40 minutes with a lot of the retirees. A lot of them are like firemen. Why are firemen walking? They never did anything for like all these years, and all of a sudden they're
making up for lost time for sitting on the recliners. They're like, well, I should maybe
be a fireman. Aren't you?
Boy, I'm going to catch hell. But
I know we're both going to get it. And then going over to the largest Y in the world, it is the nicest workout facility you could even.
And
think
I haven't
of.
been in the Y. I should go in the Y.
You haven't been in there?
I have not been in the Y.
What's wrong with you?
You know why?
You're a sports guy.
I understand, but the problem is it has been so crowded there. I'm like, where am I going to go?
Hey, let's go at 4:45 tomorrow in the morning.
You're nuts. There's not a chance.
Wait, why aren't you telling us to end?
You understand what I got to do?
You're in charge.
I've got to go down I-65.
You guys are having a great conversation.
Drive
I'm
two and a half. I'm driving 2.5
hours.
hours, and then I'm going to have a 1 hour meeting and turn 2.5 hours just to make it watch the Purdue play, which is going to be. I'm going to be passed out by 9. By the way, the Illinois-Houston game. What's that? 9:30 tip time?
Later than that.
9:30.
Yeah, it was 10:30 in Eastern.
All right.
Hey, listen, I do want to.
Well, we're getting in trouble.
Oh man,
already.
we're in trouble. Hey, I do want to also say that the celebration of life for Betty Holzback is today at Geeson Funeral Home in Crown Point from 4 to 7. Of course, my stepson is Steve Holzback, and our condolences to the whole Holzback family. But that'll be today from 4 to 7, and I'll be out there in the 4 o'clock range and pay homage to some really important region people. Hey, Dan, thank you.
Hey.
I'm going to go work out. You're going to drive.
Wish me luck on I-65, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
All right.